edition of Bet on this cold Thursday night up here in the Northeast. We've got a great show lined up for you. Nick Friedell is going to join us courtside at that Portland Nets game. Good thing he's indoors. Tyler Fulghum will join us from Las Vegas. We'll talk some NFL, getting you ready for this week, and we will touch base in Buffalo. Don't forget that Buffalo-Cleveland game now moved because of horrible weathers. Armageddon hitting us up here in the Northeast. But let's start with Nick Friedell. We take you courtside in Portland for that Trailblazers-Nets game. What's up, Nick? Welcome in.
Anita, it's great to be with you always, especially here.
Well, let's get right to it. As always, we like to start with the good word in the first phrase. Question is, Green Bay scores all 4 quarters tonight in the Thursday night game, and you can get that at plus 270. Nick, what's your good word?
Vrabel. Anita, the Titans are ready. That defense is solid. I am not betting against Tennessee's defense. They can slow down Aaron Rodgers in that offense enough. I don't like this number. I would stick with the Titans here. I believe in what Vrabel has built.
You know, it's interesting you said Vrabel just a few minutes ago on Daily Wager. We were talking about the Tennessee Titans and, you know, are they for real? Why aren't they getting the respect? I said Vrabel needs to get the respect. I'm so with you there. My good word is doubtful because, again, weather conditions. Also, Derrick Henry, he's going to probably carry the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if he carries the ball 30, 35 times tonight. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to do what they do best, and that's give the ball to Derrick Henry and eat up time of possession. So I don't know how many offensive series the Green Bay Packers are going to get in each quarter. And again, I really do like the under here, but we'll do a deeper dive into this matchup in just a few minutes. Chauncey Billups, 9-1 to win Coach of the Year. Nick, what's your good word?
Anita, I'm going to give you a word they use a lot up here in the Pacific Northwest. Dame time. Because if he keeps rolling like he is, the Blazers are going to be right there, and they have a legit chance to stay atop a Western Conference that nobody's running away with right now. So if you stick with Lillard and you believe that Billups has gotten a little bit better this season and how he's dealing with this healthy team, I think they got a shot.
I like your words better than mine. My word is why. As in, why not, right? I mean, look, what a great start to the season they're having. Top of the West, sitting at 10-4. As you pointed out, this team will go as far as Damian Lillard, right, can stay healthy. So hopefully he stays healthy. And really, Will Hardy really is the guy. Utah, great start as well, sitting at 10-6. I think that's his biggest competition in regard to where we stand right now. But why? Why not? I'm on it. I'll lay the 9-1. LeBron James breaks his scoring record with a 3-point shot. Plus 230 is what you're getting for that. What's your good word?
YOLO. Anita, you know when he actually gets close to that mark, he's going to know exactly how many he needs. And I'm picturing like the Elam ending in the basketball tournament where he's just running down the floor and sucking up whatever he can. So why not? I think it's worth a flyer. I think it's possible. I would go with it if you believe that LeBron's going to do it.
My good word is brick, as in Lakers three-point shooting is just not good. They're only shooting 28%. LeBron, he's hot one night, cold the other. Some nights he's like 0 for 5. Another night he's 4 for 7 from downtown. 21% behind the arc this season for LeBron James and 34% in his career. So for me, my good word is brick. Let's stick with the NBA and let's talk about the NBA MVP race. That I know the season's early, but it's always fun to look. So let's take a look at some of these odds. Luka obviously favored, and then you've got Giannis, Jason Tatum, Embiid, Steph Curry, John Morant. Here we go. There we go. And so Luka with plus 240. Giannis, no surprise there, at plus 260. So taking a look at this, would you walk to the window and lay any of these odds for any of these guys to win the MVP this season?
Absolutely, and I'll give you the two, Anita, because there's two names that jump out to me. Luka, number one, he is carrying a Mavericks team that just isn't that great around him. He's going to have the narrative behind him. He is incredibly talented and only getting better. So I like where his season is headed if he can stay healthy. The other one, especially with the odds he's at right now, is Embiid. We know what he did last season. We saw what he did the other night against Utah. It seems like he's starting to get into his rhythm this year. If he can take the Sixers towards the top of the East, given what he's already done in the last couple seasons, he'll also have that narrative behind him, which is crucial in the MVP race. And I think the odds right now are solid for him to put a little money down.
So I have a long shot for you. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 70-1. I love watching this guy play. Allen Iverson has to be one of my favorite NBA players of all time, and he reminds me of Allen. I was watching Allen when he played at George Washington. But here, 31 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He's first in points unassisted. He plays great defense. He's #1 in steals this season. Okay, and here's really the big kicker. Marinating this for a second. OKC is averaging 3 points per 100 possessions with him on the court. That's better than KD in the Nets. So for me, give me Shai at 70-1. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
I think the only thing that scares me is the tanks are coming out in Oklahoma City later in the year. So he's got to be out there to do it. And I worry if he will be at the end.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to have you on Bet. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you.
So we go from Nick to Tyler Fulghum, who joins us from Las Vegas. Long time no see, my friend. You just heard the conversation, of course, with me and Nick in regards to the NBA MVP odds. Do you have a play in that action?
Yeah, before the season, I took the favorite, Luka Doncic. He's still the favorite, so I have one of those tickets. I think Giannis is really the only other one I would bet on. I like the value you're trying to grab with SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I, like Nick, worry that he might miss some games later in the season. Bottom line is this, I think Giannis is proving yet again this season that he is by far the best basketball player in the universe. I know the Bucks kind of didn't reach the expectations we thought they might last year. This year, they got off to that great start. They have the best defense in the NBA, and Giannis is the fulcrum of that. And then, of course, when he does on offense, he scores 30, grabs 15. We know he can dish out the assist. He's added a nice little turnaround fadeaway jumper to his game now. Still not quite the three-point shooter that we wish, but that's picking nits with Giannis. When it comes to the 94-foot game, when it comes to dominating on both ends, when it comes to putting your imprint on the game any which way you can to win, I think Giannis is the best basketball player in the universe right now. And I think that as we get into March, April, May, and the end of the regular season, we'll see, especially if the Bucks need to position themselves in the Eastern Conference standings, we'll see the minutes creep up, we'll see the production creep up, and we might see Giannis run away with this unless Luka does something super crazy like average 35 points, 9 assists, and 10 rebounds for an entire season. But I have a Luka card, or a Luka ticket, I should say. I would add right now probably only a Giannis ticket to that.
I like it. True that. Let's do our dive into the big Thursday night football game tonight. And let's take a look at the odds. Of course, the Green Bay Packers going up against the Tennessee Titans. Green Bay is favored by 3. The over-under has now dropped to 40.5. It was 41. What's your play here?
Yeah, and that may not seem significant to some, but it matters because I like the under. I'd rather have the 41 than the 40 and a half to secure that push. If it lands on 41, which is not uncommon, think 24-17 or 21-20. But I think the Packers are in a good spot here. I would lay the 3 with the Packers. I don't think they're back by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think that win over Dallas turned them into one of the best teams in the NFC. But Aaron Rodgers can still sling the pill. He is the reigning 2-time league MVP. Christian Watson emerged. Allen Lazard's been pretty steady all season long. And we know Aaron Jones is a weapon out of the backfield. This Tennessee defense can be had through the air. They're amazing. Maybe the best run defense in the NFL. They're one of the worst in the NFL against the pass. And I think Rodgers and his crew of wide receivers probably gained a little bit of confidence and momentum that can carry over just 4 days later into this Thursday night game, coming off that win in which they passed their way to a victory over the Dallas Cowboys, a team that's a better defense by and large than the Tennessee Titans. So even though it scares me like Derrick Henry is going to be running the ball 20, 30 times in 20-degree weather and no one's going to want to tackle him, and he's such a beast, I think the fact that the Titans are traveling to this cold weather game on short rest, and the fact that they have to lean into a run game on short rest to try and win, they're a little banged up as well. I think the situational spot, to me, allows for Green Bay to build off the Dallas win more than Tennessee to continue this run of 7 straight wins against the number. So I lean Green Bay at 3, not 3.5, just 3.5. I'd go the Tennessee side or pass. And I think this is a lower scoring game. So that's the way I'm looking at it from the overall game perspective.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Green Bay here. And you mentioned 20 degrees. Those are the temps, but with 20-mile-per-hour winds, apparently it's going to feel in the single digits, right?
Ooh.
So I'm going to play Green Bay -3. If you want to buy the hook down, you can. I'm not going to be mad at you. Also, I'm going to play a parlay. The Green Bay Packers win straight up on the money line and under 40.5. Listen, you mentioned it. Tennessee, their defense, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. Also, their field goal kicker, Randy Bullock, did not make the trip. He's not going to be there either. Aaron Rodgers, in these freezing conditions, he's played 38 games. He's 28-10 straight up. Also, offensively, there's the Green Bay Packers offense. They score better at home. 37% of their offensive drives, they score at home as opposed to only 20% on the road. Also, the Tennessee Titans are the worst team in the NFL in the second half. And get this, Tyler, they have not scored 1 touchdown at all season in the fourth quarter. What? And another reason why I do like the under as well is both these teams rank 1 and 3 in the NFL in regard to the slowest pace of play all season long. So, it's going to be cold. Also, I think it's going to be really hard to tackle Derrick Henry. Yeah. And I think he's going to carry the rock at least 30, 35 times. Yeah. Man, the weather conditions going to be really, really painful to tackle him. So I think Tennessee's going to eat up the time of possession. I just do not see a high-scoring game here. With that being said, so if it's not high-scoring, what prop bets are we going to play? Tyler, what do you have on tap?
I'll give you a couple props, but it's remarkable that stat you just shared about the Titans. The fact that they're as good as they are in terms of win-loss record, and they haven't scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter, is mind-boggling to me. That seems like the time when Derrick Henry would do a lot of his damage after he softened up the defense. But here's what my prop menu looks like. It was my best bet on Daily Wager. I'll bring it over here to bet. Ryan Tannehill under 26.5 pass attempts because of the cold weather, because of the wind, and of course because the big dog Derrick Henry's in the backfield. And the Green Bay defense is a run-funnel defense. They're really good against the pass. They're pretty bad against the run, allowing more than 5 yards per carry to opposing backs. So that's a sign to me that Mike Vrabel should heed and feed Derrick Henry the rock. I know Henry just came off a game 4 days ago, I should say, where he ran the ball 17 times against Denver, but he will have extra rest before their Week 12 game if you want to give him a few extra carries in this cold weather. I, of course, would not want to tackle Derrick Henry in any weather, much less weather that's below freezing with all of those, all that wind and chilly weather at Lambeau. You saw the Aaron Rodgers prop as well. Again, a pass funnel defense is Tennessee, amazing against the run. That's not good for Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon on the ground. It's great for Aaron Rodgers, Christian Watson, Allen Lazard, and that group to build on the momentum they got in that win over the Dallas Cowboys. So I like him over a touchdown and a half through the air. Aaron Dolan, I think, used that as her best bet on Daily Wager as well. And then you saw Aaron Jones on there. Again, I think Aaron Jones will have a big day, but I don't think it's going to come on the ground. I think Jones is going to be someone who is used in the pass game. Tennessee has allowed the 3rd most receptions to opposing running backs in the NFL this season. So Aaron Jones, one of the best pass-catching backs in all the National Football League. I think if he puts his imprint on this game, it's catching a swing pass or some screens from Aaron Rodgers and then making some plays with his athleticism with the ball in his hand. But I like you again. Think it's a Green Bay lean. Think it's an under game. Think we see a lot of Derrick Henry on one side. And if the Packers are going to do their thing, it's likely going to come from that passing game and Aaron Rodgers on that side.
Yeah, it's really interesting. These two teams, the way they match up. Tennessee's defense, excellent against the run, not great against the pass. So I'm going to give you a lot of Aaron Rodgers prop bets. And, of course, for the Green Bay Packers, Not a great rushing defense. So with that being said, Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Also, this was my best bet on Daily Wager earlier tonight. Over 33.5 passing attempts. Quarterbacks are averaging 40 passes a game against Tennessee because their rush defense is so good. Henry over rushing yards, I think that's a no-brainer. I'd also, a little caveat, I'd play over attempts. Aaron Jones, I was going back and forth whether this would be my best bet or the Aaron Rodgers 33.5. I went with Rodgers, but I'm with you with Jones in the passing game. Alan Lazard scoring a touchdown. 80% of the Packers' touchdowns are via passes. And one thing about Alan Lazard is that he's big, he's great at finding space, and Aaron Rodgers loves targeting him in the red zone as well as the end zone. And Watson, man, his coming out party last week. Tyler, this dude is like 6'5", 6'6", 210. And he's as fast as the day is long. So I like over receiving yards for Watson tonight. I think that success continues, and I think last week's game could be the game that we're seeing really good chemistry develop between him and Aaron Rodgers. With that being said, let's look bigger picture here beyond the Thursday night game. I always like to look forward to the Monday, the Sunday, the Monday games. There's some odds out there. There's some lines that you and I feel like we need to jump on now before they change. So what's the one game that kind of pops off the page to you in the slate to say, run to the window right now, like get on it?
Yeah, run, don't walk to take the Steelers plus the points at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. I wonder if this will get to 3.5 or 3 by kickoff, but the reason I say run right now is because TJ Watt is back, okay? Go back to week 1. These two teams matched up in week 1. The game was in Cincinnati. TJ Watt was giving Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense absolute hell in that game until he tore that pectoral muscle and had to come out. He had an interception. He had multiple sacks. I think before he had come out of the game, the Steelers defense had sacked Joe Burrow 5 or 6 times. And then, of course, the Steelers season kind of gets lost without the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. Well, he comes back last week for the first time in about 10 weeks, Anita, and immediately they at home dominate the New Orleans Saints. Now, I know the Bengals are better than the Saints, but they held the Saints to just 10 points. It was a nice 20-10 victory because TJ Watt is that type of difference maker. Mike Tomlin at home as an underdog, when he's got his big dog TJ Watt to go sick the other quarterback, that is a recipe that I love. And especially that I'm getting more than a field goal with this game in Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh's offense isn't great. I know Kenny Pickett has had his struggles, but Cincinnati's defense is not all that imposing. You got Najee Harris, you got George Pickens. Make sure you don't turn the ball over and let TJ Watt and hopefully Minkah Fitzpatrick being back from his appendicitis eat against that Cincinnati offense with the home crowd behind them. I think Watt is such a difference maker. I love run, don't walk, getting the Steelers, +4 at home against the Bengals.
I love it. I love it. Earlier in the week on Monday, I told people run, don't walk. Get that line with the Minnesota Vikings. Today, I'm telling you, run, don't walk. Get that line with the New York Football Giants. A lot of people worried, this is a trap game. The Giants are playing the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday. I made a call over to the facility. You know, I used to be a part of the Giants broadcast team. I said, listen, are they looking ahead to the Dallas Cowboys? And I was told, no, not with this coaching staff. They are all in on this Detroit Lions matchup this week. So there's the Giants offense. Of course, Saquon Barkley's the straw that stirs the drink, but Daniel Jones has been doing great. 8th in EPA, and also only 2 interceptions this season, Tyler, for Daniel Jones. And here's the big kicker. The Detroit Lions have won their last 2 games, but they've been outgained in yards. Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Here's what went wrong. Aaron Rodgers, 3 interceptions. For the Chicago Bears, pick 6, right? So I just don't anticipate the Giants to turn the ball over. They just play such smart football under Brian Dable. So I love this Giants line right now at 3, and I'm concerned that as we get closer to kickoff, this line might switch. It might jump up to 3.5. So jump on it now. Tyler, I don't want you to go anywhere, so hang tight. We're going to talk about the Bills-Cleveland Browns game, so don't go anywhere. We're going to bring in Aliana Getzenberg, and she covers the Buffalo Bills. So, Elena, welcome into Bet. We're excited to have you on. Obviously, big news around 4 o'clock Eastern time today. The NFL said Armageddon is about to unleash in the Buffalo area. So we're going to move this game, and it's been moved to Detroit. So if you can fill us in, what are the travel plans for the Buffalo Bills? How is this affecting the team? Give us all the skinny.
Yeah, this is crazy. So the Bills just found out this afternoon that they were moving the game. Like literally this afternoon. They were practicing outside today in anticipation for the game being played in Orchard Park, New York on Sunday. But instead, that's obviously not happening. This game will be played at 1 p.m. in Detroit, the place where the Bills are actually going again on Thursday to play the Lions on Thanksgiving. But they're planning to try to practice tomorrow here in Buffalo if they can, and then travel to Detroit on Saturday. Now it's supposed to snow, we're talking feet here, so it's all dependent on the weather. They're currently planning to travel to Detroit on Saturday like a normal road game, and then come back to Buffalo after the game on Sunday.
So that's really interesting because, of course, they play the Detroit Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving. So no thought about staying in Detroit?
Yeah, they said it was because they found out so late that they weren't able to even get to that where, staying in Detroit, doing all that. Something interesting is Buffalo's not that far from Detroit, so it's less than an hour flight about, so it's not so bad for the Bills to be able to come back to their facility this next week and have as normal of a short week as possible. They're dealing with a bunch of injuries, some illnesses, so they want as much time in the facility as they can get. And this snow could be crazy. There's a lot of unexpectedness with it, and they're kind of gonna go with the flow. They don't actually know what time they're gonna leave on Saturday. It's gonna depend on the weather and when they can get everyone to the plane. So flexibility here will be key. And one interesting thing about this, because they'll be in Detroit again on Thursday, they're using the visitors side of everything. So even though they will be the home team in Detroit, they will be using the visitors locker room, the visitors coaching booths, all of that, so that they're ready for the same thing again when they play the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Wow, interesting, and this is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out on Sunday. Elena, thank you so much. Safe travels for you getting to Detroit as well.
Thank you.
So we bring back Tyler Fulghum. Tyler, so let's break it down. The Bills favored by 7.5. The over-under's at 48.5. And she had mentioned that a few of the guys were sick. Not sure if you're aware of this, but the flu kind of ravaged the locker room, even to the point where they canceled or postponed a practice at some point. So now you've got the snowstorm, and now they have to travel to Detroit. How are you playing this game, if at all?
Yeah, the first reaction, and I did not know that there was a flu bug going through the Buffalo Bills locker room. That's just another factor to consider when handicapping on top of what is already adverse circumstances for this franchise to try and play this game. The first thought I had is that, okay, if this game's moving out of extreme weather conditions in Buffalo and indoors on a fast track at Ford Field where it will be perfect, pristine conditions, that's a major benefit for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills offense. If Allen doesn't have to worry about wind, if Allen doesn't have to worry about snow, if Allen has, for his own athletic ability to create with his legs, the fast track of that field turf there against a defense that's not been pretty good, that is a major benefit for the Buffalo Bills' overall chances to win this game and for their offense specifically to have something resembling a ceiling game. So that was my first instinct. How I applied that was to reconsider my daily fantasy lineups. I didn't consider Josh Allen a priority or an option at quarterback in my DraftKings lineups. But now that he's not going to be playing in snow and crazy weather and he's going to be indoors, of course Josh Allen now has to be considered regardless of his price because he's got the best floor-ceiling combo in all of fantasy sports. That, of course, can be parlayed or use that same logic when it comes to prop market with Josh Allen, although that is a fluid market that will change now, those numbers, based on where this game is going to be played. So not quite apples to apples when you're talking daily fantasy. I would lean towards this game going over at Ford Field. I think Buffalo will do their job with Josh Allen in terms of scoring points. They will push Cleveland. Cleveland, despite, being a run-centric offense, is still an explosive offense because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are so good. And guys like Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones have had some pretty good games throughout this season. So I think Buffalo wins this game. I'm not comfortable laying the 7.5. I'd be more comfortable attacking the total going over, but the most applicable way that I have changed my outlook when I'm doing my gambling this week is in fantasy. Josh Allen and, by proxy, Gabe Davis, Steph Diggs, and Dawson Knox become much more playable, much more likable plays in fantasy this week because this game is now in a domed environment.
Yeah, lockstep. Get this, the Cleveland Browns 7-1-1 this season with the over. Both these offenses high scoring. Neither of these teams punt a lot. So Cleveland and the Buffalo Bills, number 1, number 2 in the NFL in least amount of punts this season. So I'm with you with the over. Tyler, before we let you go, we got some breaking news. Aaron Judge wins the MVP. All right. Of course, in the American League, that opened at 25-1. So whoever laid at the beginning of the season, 62 home runs, did it. So congratulations.
Yeah, Judge making a lot of people money this year, most notably himself with that performance in a contract year.
Absolutely. Tyler, thank you so much. Enjoy the game in Vegas, my friend.
All righty.
You got it. All right. As always, we like to end the show with, before I let you go, we're talking some college football and some World Cup because I am all in on the World Cup. TCU favored by 2.5 against Baylor. Yeah, give me the Frogs. That's right, ribbit. Listen, they're going to do what they've been doing all season long. They are 8-1-1 against the spread. No respect, I tell you. Baylor looking to play spoiler just like TCU was to them last season. But in November, Baylor's defense, no bueno. They give up 542 yards per game. And one thing we know about TCU, their offense is quite explosive. So I think TCU is going to continue to roll. I think they're going to win outright and, of course, be one of the top 4 in college football in the playoffs. As for the World Cup, it kicks off on Sunday. You've got Qatar, who's hosting because they're the host city, going up against Ecuador. My play here is I believe Ecuador wins, and I like the under at 2.5. And you can parlay that at 3-1. Why? Ecuador, quite good, all right? Shutouts, their last 6 matches. As for Qatar, 0 goals in 5 of their last 6 games. Their last 12 games, only once has the over hit, and Qatar really has some limited experience. So I love Ecuador. I like Ecuador actually to come out of that group as well, but I like them winning on Sunday in the under, and you could parlay that with the Monday USA game. Why? USA going up against Wales. I like the under there as well at 2.5. But the juice is a little hefty. It's -195, so you can parlay it with that first bet I just gave you. Why? USA, very slow-paced, methodical team. No really outrageous strikers that are going to be scoring at will. 0 goals in their last 3 matches. And also Wales has lost 4 of their last 5 nations in the Nations League. So there you have it. Before I let you go, again, some TCU at -2.5 and some World Cup plays as well. Don't forget, it kicks off 11 a.m. on Eastern Time on Sunday. And of course, not sure what you're doing Monday, but make sure you're going to be in front of a TV to root on the United States. Everybody, enjoy the game tonight. Appreciate you watching Bet. Good luck with your bets.